Aaron Goodheart was a good man. I mean, it's right there in his name. He helped others all the time, but he never did it to get credit for it or because he thought it was the best way to do things. He did it because he just thought it was the right thing to do. It's what you should be doing, he told people whenever they talked about his good work. Well, one day the king called him to the palace, and the king said, "Aaron Goodheart, it is time for you to go on a special mission. Indubitably, this will be a very difficult mission for you, but you must get ready for it. So go home and get ready for your mission. Now, post haste, go!" Well, one didn't ask the king lots of questions, so he hurried right out of the king's audience without knowing anything about the mission that he was doing. Where was he going? How long was he going to be going for? What was it going to be like where he was? But he went home and he decided he would have to pack for the best. He would have to pack for all circumstances that it might be in going on this mission. So he got out his suitcase and started packing. Well, it might rain where he was, so he took an umbrella. And, you know, those carriage rides, they're very bumpy, so Aaron took a neck pillow. And it might be light outside and he'd want to sleep, so he took an eye covering. And important to stay hydrated, took some water. But he didn't know what it was going to be like where he was going. Maybe it was going to be hot, so he took a hat. Maybe it was going to be cold, so he took earmuffs. Maybe he was going to go in for a long time, so he took compression socks. You know, you never know. He took sunscreen in case he was going to the desert. And he took headphones, so he'd have something to listen to on the long ride. He made sure to take an extra power cord for his phone. Never know when you need to recharge. And he took an extension cord just in case things didn't reach all the way to his bed. He took a flashlight because it might be dark. And he might get bored along the way. So he took a book to read, took a frisbee to play with friends, took cards so that they could do something all together. He even took a bag of toiletries so he could always stay looking his sharpest. Well, Aaron took all these things and packed them into his bag. And his wife came up to him and said, "Aaron, you can't take all those things. This is 1854. Most of those things haven't been invented yet. What are you doing?" Just then, a messenger came with a note from the king. "Aaron Goodheart, I forgot to tell you something. You can only take those things which cannot be carried." Indubitably. And the king went off. Well, how can he take things that cannot be carried? He can't take a bag. He can't hold things in his hand. How can he possibly take the things he needs for his journey if he can't carry anything? Anyone have any good ideas, Shai? It's too heavy, that's right. Hudson? What could he take? Can't take anything. Milo? In his mind, right, Gavin? Could just carry himself? In a wagon, maybe take a cart with him, yeah. Put it in his pockets, that's a good idea. He could take a backpack. He could make a spell. Well, he had all these good ideas, but he came up with one good idea. He took his biggest coat that he had, and he and his wife started sewing pockets all along the coat. All sorts of pockets, left and right. There were pockets on the side, pockets on the front, pockets on the inside, and on the back was one big giant pocket. And then he started stuffing things in the pocket that he thought he could need. Not the stuff that he put in the suitcase, but other stuff. What kind of stuff do you need for a journey? Well, he needs clothing. He's going to not wear the same thing all the time, so he stuffed his pockets full of clothing. And, the things are going to cost money wherever he's going, so he stuffed his pockets full of gold. And he was a merchant, so he stuffed his pockets full of documents talking about where he was and property he owned. And soon he had the pockets all stuffed over, and he started to walk on his way. But the coat was so heavy, it had so many things in the pockets, he couldn't keep going. It was so heavy. What was he going to do? Aaron wasn't sure what he could do. He couldn't walk around with a coat like this. He looked ridiculous, and he couldn't even walk 2 steps. But just then, as he lay there on the floor of his room, trying to figure out what he could do, how could he do this, he suddenly heard a voice. There was nobody in the room. He looked around, but he heard a voice. And the voice was the voice of a child. And it said, "Aaron Goodheart, you once paid the doctor to straighten my leg. Now I can run freely." Then he heard another voice. It was 2 people. It was an older couple, and they said, "Aaron Goodheart, you visited us regularly. You made our lives full of joy." And then the voice of a woman who said, "When I was sick, you brought me broth and conversation. You made hunger and loneliness escape from my life." And then he heard the voice of his neighbor. "On one cold winter night, you helped me pull my donkey from a ditch, and it inspired me to help other people." And then the voice of another boy. "You gave me money every day as you passed me, helping me find food and hope. I grew up without bitterness because of you." More and more voices and people's faces filled the room for Aaron Goodheart, and now he knew. He took off his coat with all the stuff in it. He got up and he headed to the king, and the only thing he carried with him was his good deeds. Shana Tova.